Hello and welcome to this new T3 Live presentation. We're going to track the institutions and get profitable without using indicators. So to be clear, right out of the gate, the big promise is learning how to follow the institutions, learning how to enter and exit trades without using indicators, as well as using a very proprietary signal that Rob will show you, which he calls broadening formations. And the broadening formations are actually what sets up trade expectations. So very clear, only 3 parts to it. We're going to get into a little bit more detail, but the big thing is following the institutions, identifying what they're doing, and then entering and exiting trades without using indicators. So to move along, the required disclosures. Since this is a video, you can pause this if you want to read it into a little bit more detail and read the entire thing, completely up to you. A little bit about Rob. As he mentioned in the live event, he was a member working on the Chicago Board of Options Exchange for 16 years, and personally, I can tell you he's one of the most popular contributors at T3 Live, and I'm sure you saw that in the event last night. And if and when you decide to move forward with this coaching program, you're going to see how much passion and energy he puts into it. So let's first discuss some of the obstacles that most traders face, and maybe you can relate to some of these, maybe you can't, but we feel that it's very important to address some of the obstacles and ultimately how Rob will help you overcome these obstacles. And number one is lack of patience. There is the fear of missing out. There's the fear of booking profits too and letting them disappear. There's the fear of trades coming back. Patience is a big part of that. Now, what I want to express strongly enough here is there's a difference between reading the charts and actually learning how to make money. So if I can please implore you, give yourself a chance to learn, and especially to learn a system that you try and use over and over again. That's the key. A lot of traders jump from strategy to strategy to strategy, and they don't really get let's say 12 months worth of experience. They ultimately end up getting 12 one-month experiences. So think like a doctor, think like a college student. You go to college, medical school, intern, and finally a doctor. Start out with a mindset that you want to learn and you want to learn how to make money. Remember, there's a difference. Looking at charts and learning how to make money is different, and that's what we're going to cover tonight and show you how Rob will help you do that. Second belief to overcome, a belief that making trading decisions is complicated. And hopefully by the time you're done with this, that's the big promise, is to have you fully believe that making trading decisions is not complicated. It's really just having structure, and that's really what we want to get across tonight. So there is a tendency for traders, I know myself, trading for 16 years now, you start to think, I need to know more to make better decisions. And this is a really vicious cycle that you need to get out of. You don't need to know more. You need to know exactly what you plan to do. And that doesn't need to be a big list, but it does need to be definite. And that's what we're going to cover tonight, and that's what Rob provides for you. So again, fight this feeling. If you think about a multi-billion-dollar industry, McDonald's does one thing over and over and over again. There's not a giant factory of 8,000 different things they do. It's burgers, fries, and what you're going to drink with it, and that's it. So again, don't think I need to know more. Think I need to know what I'm definitely going to do. And that's actually a giant part of Rob's system, is it's very definite, and the part that without indicators, that actually makes it easier. So if you can visualize your trading being easier, that's really the feeling that you want to have as you're walking through this. Now, who is this for? It's very important. It's not for everybody. But there are certain traders that are at certain points in their career, or even if they're just starting out, as I said. Trader number one, you're new, you have a trading account, you want to get started, but you're afraid to lose money. And quite honestly, I'm glad you're afraid, because risking money, allocating capital to the market without having any plan at all, you might as well just kiss your money goodbye. And we don't want that to happen. If you're listening to this now, you have the desire to do this, you want to start out on the right foot, where at the very least, you understand what not to do, so you're around long enough to understand how to make money. And the structure that we're going to show you tonight is simple, and, which is key, we're not only going to say it's simple and just believe us, we're going to say it's simple and here's why. That's the big thing. So if you're new, you need to understand why you're doing what you're doing. And I know Rob mentioned that quite a bit in the live event that he did. Trader number two, and believe it or not, this is probably the biggest group of traders that we speak to. You're experienced, which means you've been trading for a while, you've been in the market for a while, but you're not profitable. And tell me if you've ever said this to yourself. You know everything, but you're not making money. Now, at this particular stage, you probably don't need to know a heck of a lot more technical analysis. You probably don't need to know more chart patterns and all that kind of stuff. So you're actually in a good spot. You're in a good spot that you don't necessarily need to learn candlesticks and some foundational stuff that a new trader does. However, you do need to learn how to use it so that you actually turn the corner, go from struggling to get to the point where you're now making and earning consistent money. And think about how many different ways it's going to translate into your trading, where you wake up every day, you actually get to the point where you expect to make money, which brings us to the trader number 3, where you ultimately want to get to is you're profitable, but you want to learn how to scale to bigger profits. And before I kind of teased a little bit, speaking about broadening formations, that's kind of Rob's secret sauce. And to put it into context of what that actually means, the broadening formations means that you can recognize opportunities where there is still additional profit potential. So I want to get this clear. You can understand entry signals, but if you enter a trade that does not have sufficient profit potential, it's not worth accepting the risk. So trader number 3 is really an exciting spot to get to. So we see, identify yourself there and be honest, which of those 3 traders are you, and what do you want to accomplish in the most immediate future. So this is who it's for. Now, who it's not for is somebody who just wants a overnight, get rich quick, just do it for me type of thing. Rob wants to teach you to not need him. That is the entire point. A good mentor, a good teacher will show you everything what to do, show you how to apply it, show you how he or she is applying it, and then when you learn how to do it, they will mentor you through how to scale, as you see here in trader number 3. And that's hopefully what we're going to accomplish for you here tonight. Now, some common challenges to overcome. You may or may not be experiencing these, especially if you're a newer trader. You might not be. You might not even know what's coming down the pipe. But let's actually talk about a couple of them. Number 1 is choosing stocks with the highest probability to earn money. I'm going to say by far this is one of the biggest challenges that traders don't even understand. This is challenge number 1, because if you think back to what I said before, entries are one thing, but if you're entering a trade that has a lower probability to actually move in the direction you expect it to, the trade's a loser before you even start. Think about that. So a common challenge of choosing the right stocks, and I'm going to get into how Rob actually does this for you in the beginning, eventually getting to the point where you understand how to find them for yourself. So the terminology that Rob likes to use is he wants to help you earn while you learn, while you're learning how to do it yourself, and he wants to make it as easy as possible for you to move forward. Next, not knowing when to add to a position or take profits. If you're trading a while, I'm sure you can understand you've been in this situation, and it's probably not statistically true, but you certainly feel like it, where every time you add to a position, it starts and reverses in the opposite direction, and every time you don't add to a position, it keeps going, and 3 hours later or 3 days later, which, by the way, this is not only for day traders, 3-4 days later on a swing trade, it's flying in the direction that you expected it to, and a little while back you took profits because you saw it slow down a little bit. You don't have a structure in place for knowing which of those trades you should add and which of them you should actually take profits. And that's a big part of the broadening formation, as well as understanding what Rob calls time frame continuity. Next, we have limiting your focus. This is a big challenge. Think about it. I actually have a slide that I was going to put up, but I didn't put on here. There's a new software out that is bragging about having 6,000 indicators. 6,000. As a matter of fact, you know what? I'm going to put this on pause just for 1 second and show it to you. Okay, so I want to make it clear. I'm not saying anything at all about that particular firm. However, if more indicators meant more money, why wouldn't everybody just have tons of indicators on their screen? And the way that Rob mentions it all the time is, how many watches do you need to tell what time it is? The only truth that matters is price action. It's the only thing that matters. What is price doing right now, and what are the odds of it following through? So limiting your focus to what we're going to teach, and I'm going to show you in just a few seconds that there's only 3 parts to the equation, and if you master and work with Rob, especially over this 4-week program, you'll really understand why they're so powerful. Okay? That's the key. Keeping your focus focused. All right, next, not knowing if what you're doing is correct. In other words, you don't have any feedback other than your profit and loss statement. Now, of course, that could be obvious feedback if you're not making money. However, I'm not making money versus I know what I'm doing wrong and I'm going to change it in order to make money is a dramatically different context. So a big challenge is having a mentor and, quite honestly, a group of other people that you could trade with that have the same way of looking at the market and could give you feedback in real time, especially. So again, I want you to have in your mind right now, there's a process of learning what to look at and then a separate process of learning how to apply it. And I'm going to walk you through that entire process today. Next, you're afraid to lose money. And I'm going to make a pretty dramatic, bold statement right now. You should never be afraid to lose money if you believe in your strategy, if your strategy works, and if you trust yourself to follow it. That is one of the biggest reasons that Rob's strategy is so attractive. And he has students in his class, just to put a little bit of context on this, he has students in his program that fly to Chicago on their own money once a year and have a Rob conference. Absolute true story. Why? Because they're not afraid to accept risk in the market because they know exactly what they're doing. Now, think about what I just said. I did not say they know what's going to happen next. I said they know what they're going to do next under all conditions because they understand how to look at price action through what Rob calls his quant strategy. I'm going to get into the strategy in a little more detail. And obviously, probably the most frustrating challenge to overcome, finally getting beyond break even. There is nothing worse for a trader who is constantly feeling close but can never get past that spot. And you could probably relate to this, where you have 3 trades in a row, give it all back on one trade, 3 days in a row, give it all back in one day. We need to stop that. And if you listen to this carefully, and especially go back to this, number 1 here, choosing stocks with the highest probability to earn money. When you learn how to do this within the time frame continuity structure that Rob teaches you, you won't be afraid to lose money because you're taking high probability trades, and you will finally get past break even because the trade is a good idea in the first place. The quality of the idea is more important than the entry price.